Hey artists, we're going to go over some quick instructions for a sample clay planter. Starting off with a big chunk of clay right here, and I'm going to be tearing off some of this clay and using it for extras like perhaps some coils, perhaps my little ears for my design, perhaps my tail. But either way, I'm going to set aside some extra clay and I'm going to take this bigger chunk of clay and pack it and roll it in between my hands. I'm starting off with the basic pinch pot technique. Of course, if you have cracks, you can smooth them out at this time or wait till later as well. Now, of course, when you have a baseball or tennis ballish type shape of clay, you're going to give a thumbs up and then you are going to press that ball of clay onto your thumb, or press your thumb into that ball of clay. Now, with your hand that has the thumb inside the ball of clay, you're going to go ahead and do your pinching technique. So this is my pinching hand. I'm going to pinch and turn. My left hand, or my opposite hand, is just kind of turning that clay. And of course, if you're left-handed, you might want to do this opposite. So now, of course, my thumb hole is a lot bigger. At this time, if I wanted to, I could go ahead and put some of my other fingers inside the thumb hole and go ahead and kind of finish pinching and turning. And I'm going to put the palm of my hand right here. Now, you don't have to do it like this, but I do like how this kind of creates a little bit of more of a straight-ish type side. Now, a couple things. This is going to be a planter, and I want to have it a little bit of height, so if I wanted to use my fingers and kind of push up or push out a little bit, you could. You want to make sure you don't get it too thin in the bottom though. Now, depending on your design, if you were adding little legs to yours, then you could just kind of leave this as a rounded bottom, and then you would add the legs that would support your planter. However, if you want it sitting flat, then you would go ahead and I would plunk it down to create a flat bottom. I'm going to go ahead and plunk it down just in case I decide not to add those legs. So again, I'm just going to plunk it down once or twice. I'm not slamming it down because I don't want to lose my height. So there we go. Now, speaking of height, I want to show you an option to add a coil on top if you want to. So I'm going to take some of that extra clay and kind of moving my stuff aside, just kind of roll it into a smaller little ball of clay. And then I'm just going to kind of plop it down. And it's going to be a little bit more like a cylinder of clay. I could also go ahead and just kind of roll it just a little bit in my hand. And then putting it down on my mat, I'm going to start to kind of roll it back and forth. Notice when I'm rolling my coil, I'm kind of moving my hands to different parts to make sure that the thickness of my coil is kind of even all the way down. Now, I'm using a coil because I want to add a little bit of height to my little planter. Now, you've got a couple options. You could go ahead and score this. So I might add a little score line just to show you and remind you about our score technique. Now, if you are going to blend the sides with the coils, the scoring technique doesn't absolutely have to be done, but it never hurts to do it. And then I'm going to add a little slip. Make sure you don't smooth out your little score lines with that slip. I'm going to put this coil on. Now, you could add score lines to the bottom of your coil as well. That would not hurt. But again, I'm going to be blending this, so I don't really have to do that part. I'm going to tear this right here so I don't have an overlap. Now, I could, if I wanted to kind of keep my coil going up and up, I could go ahead and have that going on top. But I just want to do a single layer coil right here. And so I'm going to take my fingers, and of course I could also take one of my clay tools, and I'm just going to blend this down. Even with the cool tools that we have, our metal pick and our two little different wooden picks, my fingers are still my favorite tool to use. So notice that whole line that exists in between my coil and my pinch pot, I'm just blending and smoothing that out. It's kind of like I'm erasing that line with my finger. I'm also going to go ahead and do this on the inside. Now, if you like that little line in the inside, as long as you've blended the outside, you could leave it like that. Now here, I'm just kind of using my fingers to smooth the inside as well as the outside at the same time and kind of make this a little bit more even. It's not going to be absolutely perfect, but I think that's a little bit of the charm of doing it like this as opposed to doing this on a wheel as well. Now, building up the face, I could actually almost see a little hump right here. I could kind of pinch up some ears, and I might go ahead and think about doing that. Now, if you're doing a style like this with the planter, You also have the option to form ears or whatever it is out of your extra clay and attach it. Now I am gonna add a tail around, and so I'm gonna take some of my extra clay right here, and I'm just gonna kind of form almost like a little coil, and then I'm gonna flatten it out because I think that's gonna be a really nice little tail. Now right here I am going to do a full attachment technique, so I'm going to go ahead and score the area that I want to attach that tail. And as you can see in my design, I have that tail starting at the back of my planter. I'm also going to take the side that I'm going to push down for my tail, and I'm going to add some score line. And I can add some slip. Oh, that's super cute. So I'm gonna press it on just a bit. And now I'm gonna go ahead and take, again, my finger, or I could go ahead and take my wooden pick. I like putting my pick in the water. I just think that makes it easier to smooth that down and blend together. And I can bring that clay from the tail down to that pinch pot. So you can see how now I've really blended that together. So you see a distinct line between the tail and the pinch pot right here. Now I'm blending that together. Now I have that attached really well underneath, so it's up to me if I want to also blend the top side or just kind of leave it having a little bit of a line in between. I'm going to kind of leave it as is because I like how it looks just like that. I am putting my finger in a little bit of water and smoothing this out though. And now it's time for the face. Now I've got options. I could actually form eyes, and I could form a nose and a snout and add that on. But you know what, I think I might do a tiny bit of a snout on here. So I love the line in there, so I'm going to actually continue my line all the way around the back. Extra little bit, just smooth it out, easy peasy. Notice that line is not going all the way through my pot though. Dig out some little eyes in here. Now I could do it like this, or I could even wait and just paint my eyes on, because we will be glazing or painting these. Now I'm just using the tip of my metal pick to draw those little lines kind of going around, and that's just going to make my little design look a little bit more crisp. Now as far as the tail goes, I could either scratch little lines in here to kind of distinguish between the black and white on my raccoon tail. Now I have a choice right here. I can add the legs on, but I think I actually am so happy with them just having this little flat bottom that I'm gonna leave those legs alone. But one thing I do need to do really quickly is I need to very carefully put some holes in the bottom of my planter for drainage. So I'm sticking that pick in and just turning a slight little circle. And when I put that pick through, I want to be able to see just slightly through my holes so that water can drain out, but I don't want my holes so big that when I put soil in there, all the soil is just gonna fall out. So about that size where you can kind of see through just a little bit is great. And you could I put in 3 holes right here, as many as you feel comfortable, but 2 or 3 holes I think is good if you have room for it. And of course, before these go into the kiln, you do need to scratch your name in the bottom so we know whose is whose. Thanks for watching and listening, guys. I can't wait to see your planters.